Hi, I'm Dr. Karyn. You may already be familiar with how acupuncture can help us humans, but did you know it can also be used to help our pets? The use of needles to pinpoint and treat certain areas of the body is a practice that goes back thousands of years. And although they may not have realized it at the time, the points that we used actually have a fairly firm basis in neurology and embryology. According to the records on ancient Chinese medicine, acupuncture was used to manipulate or unblock the body's life force energy, also known as qi. And they did this by applying these needles in certain locations that corresponded with certain other parts of the body. Each of these points followed a certain line or meridian along the body, and these locations are still used today. For more information on acupuncture points and meridians, check out the article on Dogster.com. While it might seem a little bit far-fetched that a needle placed here could help relieve gastrointestinal signs, when you have a look at the way the different tissues form in an embryo, we can actually see how a distant point in your hand or even a foot can actually be closely related to structures and organs in the center of the body. Not only that, but using needles to target areas of pain, inflammation, and tension can have a direct pain relieving effect. So how do I treat a cat or a dog using acupuncture? It's actually easier than you might think. Like with many things, preparation is key. When I'm setting up for an acupuncture patient, I want to make sure that I've got a calm, comfortable space. Now, I'm not talking about incense and music. I want to make sure that they're on a nice, comfortable surface. After that, I just need my patient. Although Bailey was fortunate enough to have hip replacement surgery when she was younger, she is still an 11-and-a-half-year-old Labrador, so she does get stiff. And I tend to focus on her lumbar muscle area, as that's where she feels the most discomfort. And I can tell that by just running my hand here, and you can see the way that her muscles flinch when I'm putting pressure on that area. Before I get to the more painful areas, I start at the front and make her feel calm with some pats, some fuss, but also some carefully placed needles. When I'm using acupuncture in pets, I use a combination of traditional acupuncture points, and those are the ones that are laid out in these meridians. I also target things called trigger points, and the easiest way to think of a trigger point is like a knot in the muscle. It's somewhere where you've got an area of tension that needs to be released. In Bailey in particular, I focus a lot on tender points, which in her case are the muscles along her thoracic and lumbar spine. And those are the ones that overwork when her back legs are feeling weak. So in her case, I focus less on your traditional acupuncture points, although I do use them particularly for calming and relaxing her. A lot of the time I am focusing on using the acupuncture needles to stimulate blood flow, healing, and muscle relaxation. So obviously acupuncture is something that only your vet can do. So if you're looking for something that you can do at home, here's some tips. You can use acupressure, and what that is essentially targeting the same type of locations that we target with the needle, but using finger pressure instead. You can look up various locations that you can be applying that pressure to target specific illnesses and symptoms. Another really easy thing to do, especially if you've got a dog like Bailey that suffers with muscle aches and pains, is just some massage. Now, the big tip when massaging a pet is not to use fingers digging into the muscle, because that can be really painful. I would like to use a flat handed pressure, or something that can be really beneficial that almost every dog owner is going to have is one of these. It fits it beautifully along that spine, and I'm using fairly firm pressure. to give some really nice relief. Now, Bailey's quite used to having acupuncture performed, so what about a patient that isn't? I do like a challenge. This is Zazzles. When she was brought into my veterinary clinic many years ago, we knew that she had a previous injury, and when we took x-rays, we found that she actually had a broken femur. Now, that injury had occurred so long ago that the bone had healed together, but not exactly as it should have. Because the bone healing had already occurred, without amputating the leg, there was no real way to repair it. But she gets on really well. As she's getting a little bit older, I have noticed that she gets a little bit of a limp from time to time. So she started on some anti-inflammatory medication, but I thought I'd like to give her a go with some acupuncture as well. This is her first session, so we'll see how she gets on. So the very first needle that I place is something that is sometimes referred to as the icebreaker. And it's placed in the area over the shoulder blades, sort of in that scruff area. We use it for two reasons. One is as a sort of testing the waters with the very first needle, placing it somewhere where it's not unusual for them to have a needle placed. Somewhere they might have an injection, somewhere where they've got a little bit of thickened skin as well. It also can release some endorphins and start the calming
I knew
process.
that Zazzy enjoyed massage around this area. What I didn't anticipate was how much she would enjoy the acupuncture. You can see how she just flopped onto her side. Unfortunately, you can't hear how much she is purring. I couldn't believe how little restraint I had to apply to her. You can see I'm not having to hold her at all, and she is relaxed. As the needles go in, you could literally see the muscle tense and then relax. And I was just so thrilled with how she responded to this. Cats are actually known to be quite good responders to acupuncture, even though you might think that they're going to be more difficult to use acupuncture on. As Zazzles has shown us, they can be very receptive to the treatments themselves.
Not bad for our first session, I think.
To learn more about how acupuncture can help your dog, check out the article on Dogster.com. And for more information about acupuncture and cats, check out Catster.com.